How's it going, folks? I'm Marcus.
And I'm Rami.
And on this podcast, we try and figure out what this podcast is about.
And what we're doing with our lives. Thanks for joining us.
And this week, we're going to have an interview with a content creator called Patrick Rambles, who considers himself to be a COVID creator. And finally, for those of you who watch this on YouTube as opposed to just listening, we've had a lot of feedback about trying to make Rami more animated on these videos. So I've done my best as the editor this week. I hope you enjoy it.
Yeah. NFTs, yeah. Yeah. NFTs, yeah. Yeah. NFTs, yeah. Oh, that's amazing. Whee! I was giving everyone on everyone I was in a meeting with that I could. I was like, putting it up to the mic. So good. So good.
I didn't know if you'd think I was serious. I would love if that was our intro.
I mean, why not? We can just do various cuts of them. I think it's hilarious. Also, it's the sort of thing that could, take off.
Yeah.
To hook.
I love it. I'm just going to play it just this way.
Yeah. NFTs, yeah.
It's just so keen. You're so keen on NFTs.
Yeah. NFTs, yeah. No,
and also, you were giving me shit last week, being like, "You're a classic example of someone who's got an obsessive personality. Your Twitter has turned, and then
radicalized you. Yeah, NFTs. Yeah.
Wait a minute. NFTs.
Wait a minute. The context of that, if I remember exactly.
Oh, you remember this exactly.
The context of that was John was talking about 3D creators. No, he was talking about. I'd asked him about designers and going into VR, and he said, "Yeah, you can have a look at all the designers on Twitter who've suddenly taken up 3D and they're turning their NFTs into 3D." And I was giving him the supportive. You wouldn't know much about this, but the supportive interviewer type. I was trying to give him the enthusiasm. This guy. Did you ever do any stints? Did you ever do any sequences and stuff?
Yeah. Well, not well, but yeah, absolutely. What do they call those little pads? Are they Monome? No, not Monome. Is it Monome? Obviously not a lot if I don't even know what the pads are called, but
sequences is my recollection of what they where you're essentially doing these ones and they reinvented the piano through sampling. This is a logical extension of where you're going right now.
Yeah,
you're going to be doing EDM in no time at all.
No. I'm going to stop. Just not for a few more episodes.
Well, obviously this is going to be an arms race, and I'm going to need to get my own bloody unit and start.
No, don't do it. No.
Okay. I shouldn't do it.
It's not necessary. One of us needs to be able to record the audio. That's the bottom line. So
the producer. Yeah.
The producer and editor. My role is growing, and when I asked you would we be doing any marketing or any tweeting, suddenly it got a bit vague again, didn't it?
I said, let's get to 4. First of all, let's go to the tape. Let's go to the tape. We said, go stealth for a while. Let's work out if we're into it. After 4, then we can go into it.
I'm just kidding you. So Patrick today, right?
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't think Rambles is his last name. I think it's a stage name. Mr. Rambles. Welcome to the show, Mr. Rambles. Yeah.
The Belgium, the Wallanian or Flanders. Is it Wallan or Flanders? Where's he from? He's Netherlands.
So he's from the Netherlands. He lives in Belgium. He lived in Limerick in the west of Ireland, which I found out just when I was tweeting him. Tweeting at it? How does that go? What do you call that? Did I say it wrong? I feel like I said it the way my dad would say it.
It sounded dirty is what it sounded
when
like.
I was tweeting him.
The Facebook?
Late at night.
I think tweeting is good. Yeah. You can tweet something.
I was DMing him. Does that sound even more dirty?
Yeah, you definitely slipped into his Gamble's DM.
I slipped into his DMs last week, and he was up for it. So I know this guy from following him. So he makes a lot of content that I like watching, and I'm currently kind of stalking small to mid-sized tech YouTubers to try and learn stuff from them. And I'm like, he kind of blew up, and I'm like, what are the things he's been doing to get bigger? And he seems to have gone from 10K to 30K to, he's just really, really big. I think some of the things that might be interesting to talk to him about as well are, I can see him trying to get out of his niche. So there's a couple of things with, YouTube, which you know better than anyone, but I'll just call it out. But like, if you're going to do tech videos, do Apple. If you're going to do Apple videos, do iPads. Do all the iPad videos first. Stay in a niche, and then it's like, the riches are in the niches, is what they call it, because they call it niches here. But I can see him doing some stuff outside of his niche. Like last week, he did a video. He did a kind of a collaboration with other content creators, and I saw him change the thumbnail a couple of times, so I know he's playing around with it.
He's tweaking.
Yeah, and I just kind of, if he's open to talking about it, kind of talk about that, like what's his plan for his niche, and
Let's do it.
Yeah. So mostly...
This is hopefully a chat for other content creators to learn from him through us.
I think it's two things. I think it's a chance for other content creators to learn from him, but also the perspective on big tech for that economy. So there's the how do you start a YouTube channel? What incentivized you? Like he's got one of the things I find interesting about him, he calls himself a COVID creator, which is like he has a busy full-time job, but he found himself at home. So in April 2020, he started a channel, and now he has this other stream of revenue from it.
That's the chat. We have to talk about this. Everyone's going to become a creator in the next little
their
while.
Own brand.
This is a great example.
That's really interesting. But there might be some, and I don't know what he's going to be interested in talking about, but there might be something as well about when you go down the rabbit hole for these content creators. There's a lot of YouTube algorithm chat and how to beat the algorithm and you know, and it's like
what's the latest, what's hot,
what's hot, but also how does he feel about Google? As you know, a lot of these people view themselves as entrepreneurs, which I guess I don't share that view. I feel like you're a content creator that's heavily dependent on a platform. If the platform goes away, do you still have that audience?
I don't know. Farmville was developed on a platform.
Yeah.
You know, now the platform, it's risk.
Yeah.
But you can still be an entrepreneur on a platform. Arguably, every app creator ever who created Airbnb is built on a platform, it's built on iOS. You know.
Yeah,
at what point is the platform too controlling versus not?
True. So without solving it all here, that's the stuff I'm interested in. And he's the right size. Like he's successful now, but probably not successful a long time. And remember, you know, he's probably the reason he said yes to a random person saying, "Do you want to come on our podcast?" Podcast number 4. Yeah,
he's hustling.
He's
hustling,
and we'll see where it goes. So yeah.
I've spent a lot of time in Belgium.
Yeah.
Have you spent a lot of time in Belgium?
I have not. What's a lot of time? I've spent 2 weeks there. Would you say that's a lot of time?
No.
I went there on 2 separate trips with 2 separate girlfriends. So yeah.
That's a whole different show. And I'd say that's a lot of time because emotionally you invested a lot of time in Belgium.
I think Kelly would tell you that was the trip where she fell for me. The trip I brought her
one
to
of the
Belgium.
girlfriends was Kelly. That's important.
Yeah.
That's an important
my now wife.
Hang on. Did you repeat the same trip as you did with the previous girlfriend, or was Kelly the first girlfriend?
No, it was totally different.
Okay.
The first trip was like a shopping trip just to Brussels. The trip with Kelly was like we went to Brussels, Bruges, did the whole
Ghent,
all the love stuff. Yeah, it was honestly it was a fantastic trip. Like it was one of the best. I mean, it's perfect. There's like amazing, delicious beer, chocolate everywhere,
ice cream,
museums,
fries.
Everything's walking distance, and it's all old medieval stuff. It's ideal, right?
So I had family who lived in the south of Brussels for ages. Mark, Horania, you know my cousins and obviously Auntie and Uncle were there. They were there for ages.
Salsa dancer.
More frequently than the reason I started visiting them was because we had a Cochlear office, a satellite tech office in Mechelen.
I don't know.
And they were essentially like European Tech Center in Mechelen, which is halfway between Brussels and Antwerp.
Okay.
So you ended up getting the straddling thing where you'd spend time in Brussels, time in Antwerp, and go to the Netherlands. Have you seen In Bruges?
Yes. Tell me about it. Have you seen In Bruges?
I have seen In Bruges.
And
in my opinion, until we get to that level of digging, we haven't dug into Belgium enough. It is just one of the most scathing all-time mainstream movies. I feel like single-handedly was the worst PR for Belgium ever.
Do you? I think a lot of people want to go to. Everyone wants to go to the bell tower now and all that stuff where he jumps off and
maybe like the ironic Irish because they had an Irish kind of hero who went across.
If you think that Colin Farrell is an Irish hero, you're sadly mistaken.
Is he not?
Colin Farrell? No, he's. I don't know. I don't.
He's not a hero. He's not Irish.
He's 100% Irish.
Oh, he's Irish. So what's the issue?
I think he's.
You're telling me that an Irish Hollywood star is not an Irish hero?
No, he's a hero. I suppose. I don't know, the whole bad boy thing. I kind of see him a bit like Justin Bieber to some degree, like where, you know, when someone goes away from home and misbehaves, you're just kind of like, you clown, you know? So,
like you're doing right now.
I'm not misbehaving. I mean, very good.
Are you sure? You've become a COVID creator.
No, that's not. Is that what we are?
I mean, I'm not. Whoa! Before you bucket me into this, I'm just a tag along.
What we're doing together?
I'm a tag along. I would say you've gassed. I would say you've gassed up in this process. Some combo of COVID and kids.
And midlife.
And you've gone, yeah. I mean, that goes without saying.
It's safer
than
a one
anything
wheel.
Happens, anything that slightly safer than anything that happens in those 4 walls, I'm going to assume is midlife related. That's kind of the umbrella.
Hello.
Hey, Patrick, how you going? So I'm excited and delighted to welcome Patrick to our podcast today. Patrick runs a tech YouTube channel called Patrick Rambles, and since first posting a video in April of 2020, Patrick has grown his audience to almost 40,000 subscribers. Welcome to the podcast, Patrick.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, it's great to have you here. So, how are you doing?
I'm good. I'm just waking up.
Yeah,
Sorry.
It's 6:30 in the morning for you.
I actually prepared 2 coffee cups.
Oh yeah, you've got you're a Yeti. You've got the orange Yetis on your desk as well, right? Is that's one of your things?
Several colors. I have gas there too.
Yeti.
Gas with the coffee?
Yeti gas. That's not good. Can we talk about what was the most amazing part of Limerick, or what are your thoughts on living in the southwest of Ireland? Or can you give a little bit of the,
leading question?
I'm obviously biased, but Patrick, you're unbiased.
I mean, I didn't live there, but I went there a lot because I was in a relationship with somebody that lived there, and I went there virtually every weekend to Limerick City, and I have a love-hate relationship with it. Not with the city, but with the history, my personal history there, of course. So yeah. I went there recently with my current girlfriend, I have to say, and because we were visiting somebody that I know very well, and it was very nice to be back. Actually, it kind of feels like almost like I did live there, and a few things changed, and I was like, oh, they changed this and they changed that. So I think Limerick has this really quaint quality to it. It's quite kind of a small-ish city, lovely vibe. I mean, when I first went there, and please forgive me for saying this, everybody was telling me it's Stab City.
Oh, have you heard that, Rami? I don't know if that's one of the ones that made it to your radar.
Yeah. It's made it across.
Yeah.
So I thought, it's going to be this rundown, kind of dangerous place. I didn't feel that way. No, I quite like Limerick.
Limerick's a fantastic city. I'm obviously biased, but so much history, King John's Castle, you've got the River Shannon flowing through it. Absolutely fantastic city. But I'm glad you got to experience it. So the thing that I really was fascinated about, little bit of background. So Rami used to work at Google. He was, he kind of worked on. Why don't you give a bit of background on what you did, Rami, just to come clean that you were on the other side of the fence?
I think we should do it where you introduce the other person and just do it blind. Like you haven't seen their CV and just see.
Sure. So
you can guess what it sounds like.
And you can do me then. So Rami did something at Google, something to do with social, working with algorithms, and he worked on shorts back in the day, and YouTube shorts before. Was that one of the things before you left? You worked on shorts briefly.
Short form video, worked with the team,
right? So that stuff. Now works at a fintech company called Stripe, but has a lot of experience, like 7 years at Google. Before doing that, you're going to do my one.
Marcus once worked as a juggler at a local circus in Limerick. From there, he's really had a meteoric rise into tech, where he now works as chief juggler at Autodesk. I think that's about right. We actually met doing our MBA in London at one point in time. And Marcus, construction, used to build data centers, engineering, all the way through to tech. It's awesome story.
And the reason we wanted to reach out to you, Patrick, was really struck a chord with one of the things you posted on Twitter was that you see yourself as a COVID creator. And I wanted to dig into what does that mean? Kind of what was your journey? Start from the beginning and kind of tell us kind of what got you here.
Yeah. So I was always a consumer of YouTube. I was always watching videos, and they always led me to buying stuff. I had very early onset gas, and
we should explain gas.
A gas gear acquisition syndrome. You know, when you see something and you must have it, and then you use it for a little bit, and it's not good enough, and you want the better product, and and that's also one of those things people think they need more products to be able to start a YouTube channel, but maybe we'll get to that later. But I was a big consumer of YouTube. I was always watching tech videos, and every now and then I thought, it'd be cool to do a YouTube channel myself, but I was always busy, with work and everything. But then COVID came, and it's a lot of disadvantages, but it also has a major advantage that we are all at home. We don't need to do the commute. So most of us won a couple hours in a day. And I was basically just wondering what to do with my time. And then I decided to, why not? If there's ever a good time to start a YouTube channel, this is it. So yeah, that was in April. And
your first video was, correct me if I'm wrong, you might have deleted it, but the first video on your channel at the moment is a paper-like review of the iPad Pro. For people who don't know, iPad Pro, you can get a screen cover, which makes it feel more like paper when you're writing on it. Tell us about what kind of, that first video is the hardest one to do. Tell us about the process, like finally getting up the courage to make that video, and what were your plans at that stage? Like, did you always see it as being something you would try and grow, or was it just a first video?
Yeah, a little bit of both. So basically, I was trying to find, a topic for my channel. I didn't really have an idea. I didn't know anything about niches. I didn't know anything about YouTube or cameras or any of that. So I was just thinking, okay, there's this new iPad that I'm really interested in. And let's just have a look at that and see if we can do some videos. And the timing was really good because the iPad just came out, I think in April even. So there was a lot of hype and a lot of interest in that thing. So I thought, okay, let's make a couple of videos about that because this would really interest me. And I also got a paper-like screen protector because I was going to use it for a lot of note taking. And it was a pain to get on. So I decided to film my second attempt and have it be an instructional video, if you will. So that was the first video ever. And it was basically just a kind of a practice video running up to the actual review of the iPad.
Oh, great. So you had a plan from your first video. You're like, I'm going to do this one to learn how to do it. And then the one that it's to make this iPad video was your goal at that stage, right? Yeah.
The first video was supposed to be the iPad review because I thought it would attract some viewers at least. And that was kind of sort of an incidental little video before that.
And when did it start to become a plan? When did it start to become, this could be a thing. This is something I want to spend more time on. When did that happen?
Not for a little bit. So basically, like I said, there was the iPad, so I did a lot of content on that. The best apps, what do I like about it? iPad 6 months later, all the usual stuff. And then I also did a desk setup, I think, very early, because that's the other thing I'm really interested in is looking at other people's desks or studios these days. And, seeing what kind of gear they're using. There's a theme here.
Yeah, for sure.
And so I did one of those and it kind of snowballed. But the thing is that I didn't really have a plan until I noticed, I was starting to try some other videos and I didn't do so well. But every time I did some Apple related content, it seemed to pick up. So I sort of naturally was, or not so naturally, forced by YouTube into this niche that I happen to like. So I kind of focused on Apple mostly from then on.
Yeah.
And, the plan started when I actually started looking at launch dates of products and, what can I do around this launch date? Consistently posting is something I didn't do at first. Mm-hmm. So later on, I think after about 6 months, I got a plan.
Okay, great.
I love that story. This kind of followed the river track naturally because the demand was there from the Apple fan folks on YouTube. They pulled you in. You kept on trying to go left, kept on trying to go right. No, they pulled you straight into Apple and away you go. Well, I'm interested what left and what right did you try to do before you kind of drill down?
I tried some headphone stuff, I think. I don't really remember. What else did I do? I mean, there was a couple of videos that I did that are sort of off topic, but that still worked. Actually, my biggest video is a video on SD cards.
Scan discs. I saw those. The three discs compared. Yeah, that's very cool.
And that was a coincidence. I wasn't supposed to make that video because the idea was to do a best accessories video for the iPad, and those do well too. And they're of course also good for affiliate stuff and other things. A lot of search traffic. But I had these three SD cards or SSDs, and I thought, why not do a comparison? I have these things here anyway. And, as I was writing the script, it actually got quite detailed, and I thought, let's do this for real and have a real comparison, speed test and everything. And to my surprise, that thing really picked up, and it's still going strong.
You've got nearly 300,000 views or something on it, right? It's 280-something thousand views or something. Is it more than that?
It's more.
Is it?
I think it's 300 something.
Wow.
Maybe.
Yeah, huge. Huge.
There's a handful of bangers
Yeah.
on the channel that are really sort of pulling the channel.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of videos that didn't go anywhere.
Yeah. So you talked about like affiliate links and stuff like that. For someone who maybe doesn't know a whole lot about the different types of how you can make YouTube profitable, what are some of the ways that you found profitable or that you kind of lean into?
Well, in the beginning, you're not making money.
Yeah.
That's just facts. And it takes a little bit before you get monetized. I think most people have their subscribers before they have the hours. With me, it was the other way around. I had 4,000 hours way before I had 1,000 subscribers.
Nice.
But once I did, that was fun. That was exciting. And, seeing those first euros in my case come in is really exciting because you're doing something that you really enjoy. It's not work. It doesn't feel like work then. And, even if it's just 10 euros, it's money you made doing what you love doing. It's amazing, but the one thing that you can do from the get-go is affiliate links. So you just sign up to Amazon or some other platform that offers affiliate partnerships. And whenever somebody clicks on your link, you get a tiny percentage of the sales value. But a lot of clicks, it can add up, and at the end of the month, you can have a nice little extra.
Right. That's and so I think so. The two you talked about, there's advertising revenue which you get once you have 1,000 subscribers and 4,000 hours watch time, and then you've the affiliate links, and then you've sponsorship deals as well. Have you gone into the sponsorship thing?
Yeah, that started really taking off now the last 6 months, I'd say. When I hit 5,000 subscribers, I think I was doing a few sponsored videos, but they were usually done with companies that I've chased to please do a sponsored video with me. And of course, the bargaining position in that case is weak. So I did that for virtually nothing.
Did you get Yeti yet? I know that you're a fan. Did you get the Yeti? No.
It's a long-term plan.
That's the white Yeti.
That's the big fish. Yeah.
No, I have a buddy of mine, Jayhawk, on YouTube.
Yeah.
He's a lovely channel, and he's going to take off, I'm sure, very soon. But he has been promoting this brand called Ghost energy drinks for years, and he's now finally got a sponsorship deal with them, which was a dream for him. And I'm secretly wishing that one day Yeti will knock on my door.
Yeah. I
saw
listening.
Let's make it happen. Yeah.
No, but these sponsorships they took a while, and now of course I get offers, but that didn't start until at least 10,000 subscribers.
Okay, so where were the hard yards? So Patrick, I feel like there's everyone's your first 100 subscribers is hard, or maybe getting to 1,000. There's a lot of motivation to get to 1,000 because you get monetized, but where's the grind? Because you're still not making probably a lot of money until maybe, I don't know, I don't have any, my guess is over 10,000 or something. There's like a tipping point at which this thing becomes viable. Like where did you find yourself having to put in the hard yards?
Well, definitely in the beginning,
yeah,
because nobody knows who you are, and I didn't know anything about optimizing my videos. I knew what to do, but I didn't know how to do it. So basically, my titles were pretty poor, and thumbnails. What are thumbnails? Some tags, but there's so many other people doing the same stuff that it's really difficult to get discovered at first.
Mm-hmm.
But I have to say that I was lucky in terms of timing, because the iPad was really hot. And my video, the first real video, let's say, did get picked up. So I had a couple thousand views, which I think for a very tiny channel is not normal.
No.
And from then I just sort of built on that, which was why I got the watch hours, but I didn't get the subscribers. I'm not sure why. Maybe it's because it still looked kind of amateurish, or because I had no catalog. So
right.
Why would anyone subscribe?
They go, oh, this is a great video. They click in to see what you've got, and you've got one other video or something. Yeah.
Exactly. So there's no reason for people to subscribe that early on, except some family members. So that took a while.
Even then, in some cases.
Yeah.
Yeah. It took a while, and getting to those 1,000, yes, that was a big drive for me, because it's a milestone and it's sort of quantifiable. And then things happened fairly quickly. I got to 5K by the end of that year. And the next year was insane, because I went from 5 to 35, which, there's people growing much faster than that. But for me, that was nuts.
Talk us through that inflection point is fascinating. Was it deliberate? Was it just its own momentum? Did YouTube do its thing? What do you attribute that growth to?
I mean, it was deliberate in the sense that I wanted to grow, but it's not. I don't think you can really. You have too much influence. You can do things that work, and try to replicate them and build on them, but ultimately, it's not really in your control. I just got this momentum going, and I consistently sort of got 3,000 to 4,000 subscribers a month. The views were relatively the same every month. Now they're not, because January, let's say roughly to March, are dead time, and I do feel it already on the channel. But I've had the experience last year, and I know it's temporary, so I'm trying to stay calm.
Seasonal. You're in shopping. You're in the kind of shopping niche as a result.
Yeah,
right?
I mean,
it's gear.
Yes. I mean, last year I was really frustrated about January and February, and I was just trying to pump out videos and really not understanding why nobody's watching. This year, I thought I'm just going to do some other things. I'm going to try different videos, play around with my cameras and my lights to get stuff tuned in, So I'm using it for improvement on the channel.
Like the experimental phase, like the blue period. Every Q1 is your let's blow it all up.
Let's try it out.
I mean, we haven't got anything to lose.
Yeah, exactly. So your 5 to 30,000. I guess what I meant by deliberate was, did you change what you were doing? Did you ratchet up, kind of double the amount of videos, or longer, or anything like that, or were you just kind of consistent drumbeat and it just happened?
No, I did do that. I mean, I think from March onwards, I did double down. I've done a long period of 2 videos a week.
There we go.
I spent a lot of time on YouTube.
And you have a full time. I mean, this is a part time thing as well, right? It's probably worth calling out. This is your passion, rather than. I could see 2 videos a week for someone who's doing it full time, but that's a lot of that's commitment there, Patrick.
Yeah, it's a lot of work.
Yeah,
and I'm a little bit of a workaholic, so it's kind of
perfect storm
for me. But even for me, it was at some point it was a bit much, and I went back to 1 video a week. But you immediately notice that YouTube doesn't like that.
Really?
It does. I mean, we're all speculating, right? But I think you need to be consistent. If it's 1 video a week, 1 video a week's fine. If it's 2 a week, 2, but do the 2. If you go back to 1, they'll just they won't push your videos as hard.
The algorithm.
Yeah.
It'll get you.
The algorithm. You mean the 30 engineers sitting in the corner in San Bruno, just this account's looking amazing. He's gone to 2. Let's go. Yeah. There's definitely a life cycle that the algorithm is programmed to pick up, isn't it? It's got momentum. Is it growing? Is it got credibility? Is it decaying? Is it now no longer invested? I think they're kind of signals. It's just the number of signals all layered together kind of compound.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah. I mean, it's the way I view it is it's an advertising platform first and foremost, right? And a search engine, of course, but on Google's end, it's an advertising platform. So what do they want? They want people to tune in and stay on your channel as long as possible, see as many ads as possible.
Yeah.
So they want you to be consistent. And I also think that's the reason why they push you in a certain niche. If you try to branch off, they're not sure if it's going to work. They don't like that. They don't want risk. Just keep doing iPad videos, buddy.
And
state it.
And what's the like? So there's the saying, the riches are in the niches. They call niches here in the US, or niche down to blow up. Those are all the things that they tell all the new YouTubers. But you do have to pivot if you're going to continue to grow. Whatever your plans are for your channel. But if you want to get that to, if you want to have 1 million subscribers, you possibly need to expand or do more. Kind of tell us, how do you kind of beta test that, Patrick? Or I saw you did a video with some other collaborators recently, kind of trying new things. Like, tell me about that thought process and how you kind of expand your niche.
Yeah. So that was kind of, you're talking about a video about starting a YouTube channel.
Yeah.
I sort of collected, I think 8 other YouTubers to give their one thing they wish they'd known when they started.
Nice.
Because it's January, and I think a lot of people, have this New Year's resolution of starting a channel.
Yeah, for sure.
And it might be helpful. And the other thing is that, like I said, it's, there's space to try new things. The video, I think was a good video, but everybody thinks their own videos are good when they publish.
I think honestly, not just because you're on this podcast, I think it's a great video. I think it's a classic example of it's outside your niche, and you know, who do you pump this video out to? I actually think it'll be a slow burn. I think it'll be one that will be one. I think it'll be big over time. But anyway, yeah, for anyone who hasn't watched it, they should definitely watch that video because it is a great video. Yeah,
the link will be below, obviously, in posts. Marcus, you're on that.
Our editor will do that.
Yeah, no, but you're right. It's a very good example of what we just talked about, because it's absolutely out of my niche. The other thing is that, or my niche. The other thing is that there's so many of those videos, and they're done by channels that are actually YouTube growth channels, and they have the audience, and you know, they have YouTube's ear or eye. I'm just one of them trying to do the same thing. Well, not the same thing. I hope it was a bit unique in a way, but the video it didn't take off, even though, you know, there's a lot of engagement. A lot of people were quite enthusiastic about it, but it's not doing what my other videos sometimes do, which is to just have this moment where they just peak. This one just sort of fizzled out.
So what I loved from afar, what I loved seeing you doing though, was that you were approaching it like a problem you're trying to solve. So that you've got a couple of tools at your disposal. You've got a title, you've got a thumbnail, you've also got community. So you did some polls. I saw you doing things like, I can't remember your exact question, but it was like, were you shown, if you're a subscriber, you know, subscribers of mine, were you shown this video, yes or no? Or, you know, and I can see you trying to get as much information out of this experiment you've kind of done to learn as much as you can from it. And I think that's always a good sign. You know, that's like, you're going to learn as much as you can from this. And, you know, I think that talk me through that kind of, how are you approaching trying to kind of gather that information?
Yeah, so I mean, the thing that I've been doing recently is having a few thumbnails ready, because I've noticed that they have a lot to do with the click-through rate. I mean, the topic is important, the title is important, but so is the thumbnail. And it's usually one of those three things that decides whether people click on it. The thumbnail that I did at first was basically 9 creators next to each other, which was, you know, I had trouble deciding how to visualize who's in the video. And of course, 9 next to each other on a very small phone is difficult. So I decided to change that first into a more eye-catching thumbnail. That didn't really do anything to the CTR. So then I just polled my audience to say, did you actually see this video? Or did you see it, but you didn't care for it? So you just, you know, kept scrolling. And it turned out that most of the subscribers answered that they didn't see the video, even though they have all notifications clicked.
Right.
And this kind of confirmed my suspicion that YouTube just doesn't show it to your subscribers because it's not your niche content.
Right. It's incredible that YouTube knows that this is not a review of an iPad. This is something different, and we need to go slower with this one. I don't
know, if you just stuffed the tags with iPad, Apple, and went for it, I reckon you would have gotten 24 to 48 hours of a free run.
Just put a thumbnail of an iPad and then, yeah.
Or just like mention subliminally in the back, in the third audio track, just Apple, iPad. And
that's the thing. I think they pull a lot of metadata out of what you're actually saying. It gets transcribed.
They do screen share. Yeah. You just have to have everyone hold up an iPad during their conversation. And then you should take all this advice super seriously, because we've had 100 views on our first podcast and almost 50 on our second and third. So, you know, there's a lot to be learned here from us, Patrick, you know.
We don't know what you're talking about. New Year's resolutions, getting a new channel out in January. That's not us at all.
We literally just before you came on, we had a bit of a chat about how we should start doing more than just recording these and not telling anyone about them. So we should probably push this content out a bit more.
But in many ways, Marcus, you have your own channel going into tech reviews and gear as well. Yeah. And this, in a way, is your diversification kind of story. Part of it's something different. You and I hanging out, just for context, Patrick, it's our motivation is just to hang out together. Whatever happened on the side kind of happens. Part of it's diversification in terms of a different topic, but also a different medium, right? You're going into audio, you know, plus the visual. I'm wondering how you think about that multi-channel story, Patrick. When do you start diversifying? Do you have an IG you're pumping out there on Reels, on Stories, on Twitter and everywhere else, or are you kind of focused? YouTube double down?
Well, that was actually one of the things that were discussed in that YouTube advice video.
Which I watched, and we should cut this bit out just so we're on the same page.
Okay.
I didn't. I'm sorry.
Yeah. It was actually this Jayhawk who I just mentioned. It was his tip, and he said, "Be on other social media, be active, and don't underestimate the power of pulling that audience to your YouTube." And I was never big on social media. I mean, I had my Facebook account because I'm old, and I have Twitter, but I didn't really use it. And the other thing is, I was hesitant about social media because my job is completely different from what I'm doing on YouTube. I didn't really want to mix anything. I just kept it very quiet.
Yeah.
So I'm not using my normal social media to, promote anything. So I set up different ones for YouTube as my alter ego.
Yeah.
But I spent virtually no time on those. So my audiences on Instagram and Twitter are very, very small. And I only recently started posting a little bit more because I noticed that not only for the audience, but also for sponsors, it's interesting if they have more that you can offer them in a package.
Okay. And so you're saying that Rambles is not your last name. You're not Mr. Rambles. Is that what we're to take from that? I've just been assuming
that's not
we're going to have Mr.
first name, no.
We're going to beep it out.
Yeah. I hear that. I hear that you're saying that you didn't use a whole lot of social beyond YouTube. I'm really impressed with the community you've built, though, in terms of to be able to pull in 9 other creators to do, and these are not unknown creators. Like I know Jayhawk. I actually saw the video where he was delighted with his new sponsorship deal, and he's been really, he had all those cans on his desk, and he's delighted. I also watch Tom. What's Tom's name again? Yes. So, they're I think they're up and coming. Some of those creators, I'm really surprised that they're not way bigger than they are. So how did you build that kind of community and, make relationships that someone's actually going to give you content for your channel? And I've also seen them promoting that video in your comments feed and on Twitter and things like that to try and help boost it. Like, how do you make that happen?
Yeah, they really did a good job in trying to boost it, but still didn't go anywhere.
Right.
But how did I? Well, I wasn't very active on Instagram and Twitter. I didn't post a lot, so I didn't do anything to gain followers or subscribers or whatever. But I did reach out to people from time to time on a bilateral basis. Mm-hmm. Tom is one of those people that is partially also responsible for my gas. His channel. He's always talking about really cool gear. It's all about audio and stuff, and microphones and all the things you kind of have to get interested in when you're starting a YouTube channel.
I've paid probably for a couple of lunches for Tom through affiliate links, like this microphone, also this Rodecaster Pro. That's a Tom one. I'm thinking of the Adam Mini. Those are all Tom clicks for sure. Yeah.
I mean, Tom needs to get shares in Rode. I'm serious.
He loves it. And the video, his thumbnails are fire, by the way.
They are.
His blue theme and his thumbnails, he crushes, Yeah.
Yeah, well, that's the thing about Tom. He has a really, really strong brand on YouTube. You can immediately tell when it's his video. Mm-hmm. It's something that I'm still working on. I'm just trying to see what works and stuff, but he has this really distinct style with his own font and all that kind of stuff. So that's really amazing. But Tom has been extremely helpful from the beginning. I always had a bunch of questions for him, which he then answered, and he's probably, been annoyed with me a few times, but he's just generally a nice guy who's willing to help. And,
it's the teacher in him, right? He's a teacher. So I think
I think so. He's excellent at that. That's probably also why his videos are so good.
Right.
And the other guys also, I just met, El Jefe, I actually met very early on YouTube when I entered this competition of, sub 1,000 subscribers videos. And I got in second, and he was the guy who had to call me that I won this B&H check that I couldn't use.
Oh, and, no, that's a great check.
I gave it to a friend in the US.
Nice.
But, so these are people that I just met along the way and that I kept in contact with. Jayhawk's also somebody that I just really think his style is really interesting, and reached out, and all of them I basically met bilaterally.
That's great. So what was what was your biggest surprise about it? What's the thing I didn't expect that, or I knew I was going to be making videos and I thought I might make some advertising or whatever, but I didn't expect X. What?
You mean about the general YouTube experience?
Anything about the whole being a creator, the fact that you recorded that first paper-like video, what was the thing you didn't expect to get from it that you have now?
I mean, honestly, there's a lot of things that I didn't expect. One is that it would be so much work. That's probably the one thing, because when you're watching YouTube videos, it seems so easy, right? You just sit in front of the camera for half an hour and you edit for half an hour more, and that's it, right? And the rest of the day you play Xbox.
Yeah.
That's what people think about YouTubers, which is obviously not the case.
Mm-hmm.
And you have to learn so many new skills. I didn't know anything about cameras. I thought if I just buy this cropped sensor, Canon M6, then I will have this amazing camera quality looking videos instead of just using my phone, which of course, camera means nothing if you don't know how to use it.
Mm-hmm.
So I had to spend a lot of time on learning new skills, audio, cameras, lighting, all that stuff. The other thing I really, really didn't know is that there is such a big, relatively close community behind tech YouTube, and I'm sure in other niches or niches as well.
Mm-hmm.
That is, to me, like, it's been probably the thing that kept me going the most. I have a few little chats in Telegram or, WhatsApp with other creators that are on the same page, on the same level-ish. We're sharing stuff, bouncing ideas back and forth. And, also like disappointments when you feel frustrated, and it's kind of like your family will be there, but they don't really understand.
Right.
Because YouTube is a very strange hobby and nobody really gets it. So it's nice to talk to people that actually immediately understand what you're talking about. So community has been an amazing added bonus for me. I made some real friends. And also the sponsorships. I mean, I wouldn't have dreamt that within a year or maybe a year and a half, I would have all these companies, reach out and sending me stuff. The free products in the beginning were just like, why are they sending me all this free stuff? What did I do to deserve this? And then of course you wake up and you realize that you're actually being a very cheap advertiser.
Yeah, that's great.
Those are all things that I didn't see coming in the beginning.
Yeah, amazing. What would you say to someone who is thinking about doing something like this? Like, well, I feel like I might even have a more narrow question. Like there was something about the fact that as well that you're not a 22-year-old designer coming out or whatever, someone at university, that it's something like it's clear to me you got a serious day job. You say you're a workaholic and you're finding time. You're saying this is your hobby. You squeeze this in. What might you say to someone who's in a similar situation in terms of, I've got a serious day job. I kind of don't really want my colleagues to know I'm doing this, but I would love to do something like this. What would you say to them?
Hypothetically, Marcus.
I would say do it.
And it might just be just for me.
Yeah, I would say do it. Do it. Sometimes people ask me if I would do it differently, if I would be more open in the beginning, and I still don't really have an answer. I think I would have done it the same way, because now I don't promote the fact that I have a YouTube channel to most of my people in my work sphere, but I don't hide it. Mm-hmm. And the people that find out, they've all been really supportive and enthusiastic. But I don't know if I would have wanted them to see my channel in the very beginning.
Sure.
If you know what I mean. So I would probably still keep it on the down low, but do it. I mean, it's just something I wish I'd done it earlier. Because like you said, I'm not 22 and I don't know what my expiration date in Techland is, but it's there, I'm sure.
I don't know. I hope not. I think there's still plenty of room for, I think if you, well, maybe I'm in denial myself. Like Rami's super old and he's still doing it, So yeah.
You don't understand the walking frame that's holding me up. Patrick, while you were talking there, I could have sworn you were talking about an OnlyFans channel. Was it the nature of kind of I'm wondering how much of this is to do with stigma or perceived stigma around YouTube and being a YouTuber. Is it generational? Is it the nature of your, the gap between your daytime work and YouTube? What was it that was making you think, no, I need to hide this and keep it underground?
The latter, for sure, because I'm a lobbyist in the EU, so the good kind, I would say. No, the thing is, lobbyists have a really, really bad stigma in the US, and it's not quite the same over here. That's just something I noticed. But there is, of course, a big, big difference between being a lobbyist and interacting with politicians and representing businesses, which is quite serious and quite dull at times. And there's a certain reputation that goes with that. And I just felt that, the sort of frivolous nature of YouTube and, it's almost like we're just boys having fun, which is exactly what it is. But I just felt it in the mix. So I kept it quiet. I didn't know what my clients would think if they, found out. In the end, I think it doesn't matter, but it's just something that I didn't feel comfortable.
No, I totally get it.
Yeah, makes sense.
When we were gearing up for this call, when you said you were a lobbyist, so Patrick, context, Patrick is in Belgium. And when you said you were a lobbyist, I was like, please don't be an anti-beer lobbyist or something. Like, can that not be what you do? So relieved to know that that's not one of your, your strong beliefs, because that would struggle with that.
No, that's right.
I'm so many YouTube questions. I'm wondering where you're taking it. What happens there? What's the grand vision? Do you have one? How hard are you pivoting? Are you getting a full production crew? Where does it stop?
Yeah, I mean, that's a really interesting question. It's something that's been on my mind a lot because, like you said, it's a hobby still. It's generating some money, but it's definitely not something that I would feel comfortable dropping everything else for financially just yet. But I do see that there's a potential. There's a lot of, it's not just YouTube. When you're exposing yourself in that way, there's other offers coming your way too. I mean, I've had companies ask me if I can do a corporate video for them. Nice. There's always these little extra things, and it makes me realize that YouTube can become an actual viable business. A year ago, I would have said, if you'd asked me, would you ever consider doing this full time? I would have just laughed and said, no, of course not. This is a hobby. But I'm actually falling in love with it more and more. And I wouldn't say that I would, quit my other business and go for it full time. But I definitely started looking at YouTube as a business, as a very as a viable business, and as a business that can grow by quite a bit, from where I am right now. So I don't know. I'm keeping all the doors open, and I have definitely a plan to grow this thing further.
Brilliant.
I'll be watching. From the sidelines.
We'll be watching very keenly, very, very keenly. We were there at 40K. I'm just fascinated when you do when it does click that it's the business story. Where do you start pouring the fuel on the fire? When do you start reinvesting in having a crew behind it? When do you actually start employing? Like when does it flick the switch?
Yeah, that's a good question also. I mean, I don't think I'm there yet. I don't want to invest in, but what I've been investing in is gear, and not because of my gas, but because I think it's important. I mean, audio is so important. So I wanted to dial that down first, and then lighting becomes important. And of course, you want to replace those cheap lights that you got at first with some better lights and stuff. But there is a point which I think I'm getting at, where you don't need to replace stuff, and you have like enough to work in your home studio. But my big goal for 2024 is to have a dedicated studio outside of my house. And I think that will be the time that I also think about giving things out of hands, because I currently I wouldn't feel comfortable giving my videos to an editor, for instance. I really want to have my own footprint there, and I don't know, maybe I'm just a control freak, but currently I just don't see it happening. Also financially, I think it's not viable yet to hire somebody. So, and I haven't reached that pivoting point.
And this is, maybe just a slide like chat. How much of the working from home how much the COVID part of your being a COVID creator was around this tangibleness and feeling like you had an output? Your other job, was it harder to do working from home? Did it give you less kind of meaning? How do you think about the COVID aspect of it?
No, definitely. I mean, being a lobbyist is a people business. Usually you're traveling all the time and meeting people and going to,
Right.
events and stuff. None of that is happening now, of course. So my my job became a desk job from being a 20% desk job to almost 100% desk job.
Right.
I can do my work this way and I am doing my work this way, but yeah, a lot of the excitement,
Suck the joy out of it.
pretty much. So this is definitely something that helped stomach all of that, because this is the fun part, let's say.
And you're getting this feedback from your audience, from other creators. You've got like tangible metrics for sure, but you've got this feedback loop that is warm and fuzzy on a regular basis, right? On every
It's
video.
definitely some dopamine related stuff there as well. In the beginning, I was always I was using TubeBuddy. I don't know if I can say that. The app, I was constantly just pulling at that thing to see, got 10 more views. Stop doing that, but I still kind of live in the analytics. I'm always checking way too often, actually. So I'm trying to do that a little bit less. But
your mental
at
health.
least once an hour, I'm looking at my stats.
There are worse addictions in life.
For sure.
Yeah, for sure.
Patrick, I really want to thank you for taking the time today. One, you had to get up early 2 days because of a mix-up early in the week. I really appreciate your time. It's been really great talking to you today. And and the best of luck. We'll be watching from the sidelines, rooting you on,
Yeah, you too, guys.
Yeah, thanks.
Thank you so much, Patrick. Such a pleasure to meet you, man. I'm interested in this from a couple of threads. One is YouTube Insights. Two is, the more it went on, the more I thought to myself, this is actually you building community. And then three, this is the first interview type thing, genuinely. John was much more of a chat, whereas this is actually interview, probing, etc. That's a new experience. It's a new genre. It's a new thing in and of itself. Someone at his prime, hitting an inflection point, deep in the weeds, and is keen. This is a passion, and it shows, and really, really wants to talk about it. And that's what we talked about. That's exactly what you want from guests. And I feel like that's what interviews are, right? It's someone bringing it across. Oh, good fun, good learning. Oh, also, like, just what a cool thing to fucking do on a Wednesday night. This guy goes, like, he rocks up. He blows up. I go, yeah, we were in an interview with this guy when we had no subs. We were just chatting, getting to know.
Yeah. He will. I mean, his content is really, really good. Really high quality is what I would say. And he's driven. It's very clear. And I'm not kidding. You can see the ones who are really trying. When a video doesn't hit, he's checking why didn't it hit. He's working on it, So those are the good ones.